Hi guys, if you've been into personal development for some time and you haven't gotten the results you expected, then this video is for you. Because the reason why is because we got the process upside down. And in this video, I'm going to give you the single most important thing to focus on in order for every effort within the personal development range of stuff you can do to really work and really give you results. Nobody talks about this. This is essential, so stick with me. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and go download our free course on productivity by clicking the link just below here. So, first of all, the title in this video and of our new course that we are launching in 2 weeks is Omnificence, right? The unlimited power to create. Let's just talk about that for a moment, because most people say, oh, that's too ambitious, Claus. Get off your high horse, take it easy, especially where I come from. But just think about it. If you're a cow, what would you expect of yourself if you were living as in the species and of the species of a cow, of cows, right? You know how that looks, right? If you're a bird, different thing. If you are a monkey living in the rainforest, what would you expect your life to look like? Just look at it from the outside. Then look at the human species from the outside. Take 10 steps back, look at the planet Earth. Who are these people? Or what is that species? What is that about? Wow, they created artificial light. It's lighting up, for freak's sakes. It's amazing. They got cars, running water, housing, asphalt, all kinds of stuff. The internet, it's amazing. They went to the moon and back again. So if you looked at that from the outside and you knew nothing about cows, you're just watching them, and you knew nothing about human beings, what would you expect your life to look like if you were a member of that species? And then tell me that you're not selling yourself short when your reaction to a word like omnificence, the unlimited power to create, if it's like that, if you go, take it easy, what are you talking about, right? This is you. If you look at the human race, right, it's clearly we got the unlimited power to create, right? And we're all part of that race. And I'm not saying you can just come up with a car. It's multiple generations, right? The internet couldn't exist in the Stone Age because other things had to be invented before. But this is the group you're part of, and we can do better than just going around in circles every day. I know you know this already, right? So let's just build on that and then say, what's the problem? Why can't we just have an idea in our head and then follow through on it and then create a new result? It's easy, right? Because every big result is just small results stacked on top of each other, right? Can you get the result of having a beer in your hand? Yes, you just get off your chair, you walk to the kitchen, open the fridge, take out a beer, and then you got a beer in your hand. But that's a result. You made an effort, you took action, and you got a result. Well, making $1 million or, having a happy marriage or being a better parent or whatever it is that you want is just that exact kind of easy results stacked on top of each other. So why do we have such a big problem following through on what we say and creating the life we want to create if it's so easy? And it is so easy, right? If you look at anyone who achieved amazing things, if you look at each instance of his or her life was just easy, easy, easy. Oh, he's walking now, he's sitting now, he's thinking now, he's coming up with something now, he's being creative now, right? Just easy, easy, easy all the way. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is that we have, unlike other, let me see if I can do this, unlike some other species, we have a complex brain. And the only thing that makes it complex, really, is that it's made up of 3 individual parts. Down here, we have the reptile, the oldest parts of the brain. This is like a robot, right? You walk the streets, and suddenly a car comes, and it's about to hit you. But before you are even conscious about the car, the reptile brain makes you jump to the other side and saves your life. It's like a robot taking care of you, right? It has a reaction that is just amazing. And it also keeps other functions of the body running, and it's an automated, really cool computer in the basement there. Then we have the mammal brain, And you can think of that part of the brain as a small child, like 4 to 6 years old. It's highly emotional. That's how it regulates its life and goes about its life, is emotions, right? It's the fight or flight response. Also, they cross over, but this is a simplified version of the brain here. But so think about this level of the brain as a monkey or a child. Emotion is what goes on here, which is basically just chemicals squirted into your bloodstream that makes you want to do things, that makes you want to eat sugar, makes you want to fight, flight, throw things around, whatever. Just think about a small child, right? And up here, we got the frontal lobes. I'm going to write an H because this is uniquely human. No other species on the planet has these frontal lobes. That's why our heads are so big. And up here is abstraction, is ideas, is imagining something that isn't in front of you, but is in here. Sounds, vision, every sense perception can be imagined. Amazing, right? So, but that also, potentially creates a dream world, which is amazing as well, because then you can create the world as you see it in here. We got analytical powers, mathematical, conceptual. We got language on a very high level. So up here is really where the game is played, you could say, right? The manifesting game, the creation game. And there's not so much emotion going up around here. So often, and this is the next point, we are not one person. That's what trips us up. We're multiple persons, but basically we're two people. You have the small child and you have the adult. You have the executive level, leadership up here, and people who are leaders are living up here most of the time. People who are not at all in their family or in any are living down here most of the time, coping, right? But if I ask you, and most people go back and forth, right? If you imagine this is you, like a dot, this is where you are, and then the circle around, then you might be living here, you're highly emotional, but you have some connection to the frontal lobe area, right? You can dream, you can see all these things. It's amazing what I can do with my life and what I want to do. You have all these things going on, but you're not acting on them. Why? Because this is immediate gratification. This is emotions. This is sugar, ice cream. Gimme, 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 now, now, now. Like a small child, right? And if that is all that's going on all the time, then this little area here is just shoulds, right? That's what we call them. I should do that. Why are you saying that? Why should you do it? Because you recognize with your frontal lobes that doing all these great stuff, things are running, eating well, is going to give you much more pleasure than the cookie in front of you, right? Much more energetic, proud, can give to people, can make a contribution, make a difference at work. Everything becomes better. And you want that pleasure, but you can't because you're pulled down by the emotional force of a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old. And you know what a family looks like if a 4-year-old is in charge and the parents are running around. What do you want, little? Oh, it's too hot. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, you want ice cream? Yeah, let's give you ice cream. And you know how you feel when you look at that. You say, this is not good because it's dangerous, right? And that's why we get fat when we live in this zone, right? We get poor, in debt. All these things happen because we have such a hard time putting our abstractions, our visions, what we want for our lives first. Instead, we reach out constantly from the pleasure that is right in front of us, right? So we are unable to stack small results into bigger results because that's what we need here. So if I'm talking to you when you're in this zone, you say things like, doesn't matter, do it tomorrow. I'm enjoying life. I'm eating, right? I can't imagine life without a glass of red wine every night. I can't imagine life if I couldn't put my teeth into a big steak every night. These hippie guys, running around doing exercise, your whole identity, your whole value system becomes this. So you can live there and keep away these shoulds that are bugging you all the time, right? Because that's what they are when you're living down here. When you're living up here, this is you, right? And this is kind of your sphere, where your boundaries. When you're living up here, the visions you have for yourself, the ideas, all the excitement about what things could be like, what you could do with your life, right? What are you doing next week? How can you grow? How can you develop? How can you contribute more, right? What would happen if we have twice the income we have now? All of these things is where you're living. But you still have, everybody has, a foundation, or you still have emotions, right? Right? So you still have the enjoyment of having emotions, of being human, but they don't control you anymore. right? And if you are wise, then you listen to this part. You take care of this part like you would a child. You look after this part. This is not an either or. You're not 100% disciplined or just a slob 100%. This is finding a balance, but not living down here. And how do we do that? Because if I go to you and you're up here, when I throw you a time management strategy, bam, you take action on it. Bam, you get new results in your work. Right? If I throw you another strategy with regards to your body, anything dieting, health, bam, you realize it. You make it come true because now you can act on it. You're not bogged down by the emotional level in the brain. You are in control. This is the leadership level. This is the general. This is why stuff happens. This is why you make things, this is why you go around in a circle, a pleasure circle all the time of ice cream and blah, blah, doing the least amount possible, being, bored sometimes and trying to just, when you go on a diet, it's like, it feels like a punishment, right? I have to go for a run. It's punishment all the time. It doesn't feel like that up here. It feels like it's expansion and a little bit of pain sometimes, right? But here you push because you're in it. This is why we want to live. Every single one of us, if we could. When this is in place, everything works. And I was so lucky after 10 years of studying personal development, it felt like lifting a car, which is impossible. I had to struggle like crazy. So I went back and forth between fighting like crazy and doing all the right things and running and exercising and planning and doing all the right and learning all the time and then falling back into something that looked like depression, right? Back and forth like that, from one to the other all the time until I realized what it takes to stay there. That's what you want to do. Once you stay there, you can do anything. Oh yeah, you can't fly. That's the example people always give when they're skeptics. You can't just fly suddenly, but you can tap into the resources you have on a totally different level. You can learn stuff, put it into action, get results over and over and over again, and suddenly your life expands. Like my son said to me the other day, Dad, I saw you go from laying fat on a couch, being bored and unengaged to suddenly just boom, right? I remember the feeling of sitting in a BMW, right? Cabriolet or convertible, whatever you call it, where you live. And just the feel, just music just blasting down the freeway. And just that feeling of finally having gotten into what, it wasn't a $10 million car, it doesn't matter. But just a shift of being able to produce results, jumping into it, using all of it, it's another world. And you know it is, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this video. So the question remains, how do we go from living here to living there? That's what our new course, which we launch in 2 weeks, is about. That's what this mini course is about. And what I'd like you to do now is just focus on all the things you haven't realized. And if you've been into personal development, all that personal development just turned into more shoulds, right? You learn a bunch of stuff, you got strategies, skills, everything, but you're not using them to the level you could because they're just shoulds, right? Because you're living here. And I want you to focus on that. And secondly, I want you to focus on, are you going back and forth like that? How does your life look? How does your identity look? How does your thoughts look when you're living here? And how do they look when you're living here? And what are you missing out on really because you're not here all the time? How would your life look if you lived here all the time or 99.999% of the time, right? I'm going to give you some key strategies for how to do that in the following video. So stick with me. And then, answer the questions I just asked you. Just close your eyes, use 2 minutes and focus on what results do you not have because you go back and forth like that. Who are you in these two different zones, right? Think about it. Let it sink in and maybe watch this video again. Then the day after tomorrow, I have a new one ready for you where we'll talk about the main strategy of how to live there more of the time until we live there almost all of the time. See you then.